Awesome. G'day, ballers, and welcome back to another edition of Talking Ball with Scotty and Sergio. Whether you're listening on Spotify or watching on YouTube, remember to hit the like and subscribe button, and thanks for joining us. On today's pod, we're going to look at the record-breaking triple-double demon that is Russell Westbrook and his play-in-bound Wizards. We discuss whether the Lakers can get out of their funk and can the return of LeBron James spur another title run. And we ponder if the season-ending injury to Jaylen Brown spells the end for the Boston Celtics. But first, let's say hi to my partner in crime, LA's finest, Sergio. How you doing, brother?
G'day, mate. How are you? I'm great.
You good, brother? Everything all good in LA?
Starting to heat up over here in LA, and everyone's excited about like the playoffs because we have two great teams that are going to be a part of it. So I think there's a lot of enthusiasm going on in Los Angeles with the NBA right now.
Beautiful. I'm sure all the bars are starting to get busy with all the basketball on every night. Here, the games are during the day for us. So I'm getting up early to go driving, and then I'm spending from like 10 till 3 here watching nonstop basketball. I love it, Serge. And we're getting closer and closer to that play-in tournament starting next week.
Yeah, a lot of complaining lately about the play-in, but I think the play-in's made the end of the season really exciting.
100%, mate. There's usually a fight for 7 and 8 seeds, but sometimes there is no fight. But this year, the Spurs have got a chance. There's a couple teams still fighting to get in, jostle for positions. But let's get started. Unless you've been living under a rock for the last 5 years, the name Russell Westbrook is synonymous with grabbing triple doubles and playing at 1,000 miles an hour. Before 5 years ago, only Oscar Robertson had ever averaged a triple double once. Russ has now done it 4 times in the last 5 seasons. Serge, some people call it stat stuffing, but what Russ is doing is incredible. And don't you think it's time we start putting a little bit more respect on this brother's name?
Yeah, I think the reality is people have just gotten so used to the triple doubles coming from him. And you start to forget that, like, if you were to compare LeBron's at 17 seasons in, I think Russell Westbrook's 12 seasons in, and he has double the amount of triple doubles. So that's just like an example. And like LeBron, who's a very complete player, who does rebound, who does have assists, but he's not nearly as he's not nearly up there with figures as Westbrook is. And people just they take him for granted. And I think now with his last streak and how the Wizards are playing, they're starting to remember who Russell Westbrook is.
Yeah, some of the numbers that he's been putting up, like 17, 18 assists a night, 14, 15 rebounds. He's been fairly efficient shooting recently as well, which is the biggest qualm with Russell Westbrook's game. Can he be efficient enough so he's not missing a bunch of free throws? He's shooting 1 from 5 from 3-point range. He's taking bad shots. He's doing everything. And early on in the season, the Wizards seem to be the laughing stock of the NBA. They've turned it around now in the second half. They're going to be 8th to 10th, and they're definitely in the play-in tournament. How impressed are you by this turnaround, seeing that they haven't had much help apart from Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook?
I think they actually just learned how to play together, those two. And at the beginning, even though there was good camaraderie between them, they didn't know how to play, because Russell Westbrook's very different than
Anything the same.
What's the guy they traded to Houston?
Harden? Oh, John Wall.
Yeah, such a different player to John Wall. So I think, and this year, exactly what you were talking about, Russell Westbrook's decided to just not, shoot as many shots and kind of hand that duty off to Beal, who's a better spot-up shooter and just a better jump shooter in general. So I think that's been a big difference. So I'm not really that surprised. I kind of thought they were going to get it together. At the beginning of the season, we were both picking them to be a strong presence.
7 or 8. We both picked them in the East. And they got off to such a bad start. They had issues with COVID. They just weren't gelling. And then the second half of the season, mate, Russ, you want to get some assists, you find Bradley Beal, because the one thing Bradley Beal can do, man, is shoot the hell out of the ball. He's in a tight race at the moment with Steph Curry for the leading scorer this year. I don't know if anyone's seen, but Kent Bazemore came out and said there are guys straight up hurting their hamstrings trying to chase Steph. And Bradley Beal didn't like that comment. I thought it was pretty funny, to be honest. And these guys, like, they all know each other. They'll try to give each other a little
took it
shit.
a bit too far because he
100%.
got really like aggressive with him, and I'm like, dude, it wasn't that bad, you know? He just kind of said like there's people pulling hamstrings trying to chase Steph Curry. It's kind of funny. I don't think it was severe.
And Bradley Beal came out and he's like, oh, I'm not trying to impress one person. You don't know why I play basketball. It's like, dude, it was just a comment. Like, you can't take it. It's Kent Bazemore. Who gives a shit? Like, don't take anything Kent Bazemore does too seriously. Like, he's having a joke, man. He's having a joke.
He should have shrugged it off. He's Bradley Beal. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Moving on, Serge.
Durant, way too like easy to rattle.
Some of these guys in the NBA just like get some hard skin, for God's sake. Like, you're professional athletes, you're worth like a couple $100 million. Someone says something about you, who cares? You're a better player than Kent Bazemore. No one's going to remember Kent Bazemore in a few years, and everyone's going to remember Bradley Beal because you are a gun.
Yeah, and funny enough, tonight, Steph Curry had a pretty average night, so that's probably going to bring down his average. Well, Bradley Beal was actually sitting. I don't know if he's sitting tonight or sitting tomorrow, but he's going to be out for 2 games. But I think that could actually pull Steph Curry's average slightly down. He only had 21 points.
Especially when they're like, they're only separated by 0.1 or 0.2 of a point. One game where you shoot 1 for 11 and score 20 points, that could be the difference. But a few more games to see how that goes. Moving on, Serge. Before the season started, most experts were predicting a Lakers repeat championship. But things haven't gone to plan for the yellow and gold. Injuries to both LeBron James and Anthony Davis have dented their regular season aspirations, and now they're fighting to stay out of the West play-in tournament. But with each loss and Mavs and Blazers win, it becomes more and more likely. Even though I wrote this about an hour ago and the Lakers just beat the Knicks to get a little bit higher, they're still in 7th. Serge, if the Lakers make it into the play-in and they win one of those 7 or 8 seeds, which we think they're going to beat either, if you lose to Golden State, you're either going to beat a Memphis or a San Antonio. Is it a foregone conclusion they're just going to flip a switch and they're going to beat the Jazz or the Suns?
No, it's not. I think it's a foregone conclusion that they're going to be in the play-in. They're not going to get into the sixth position or the 5th position because Dallas and Portland, as you said, hold tiebreakers over the Lakers. So even if they were to get up there and tie them, they're a game behind right now, I believe.
Dallas lost today as well.
Games ahead, so it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be too hard.
Phoenix and the Suns, I just watched the Suns lose tonight to Golden State, but the Suns are a strong team.
Yeah, they didn't have their best game the other night when they lost to the Lakers. The Lakers actually beat the Suns the other day. It was a good win for the Lakers. Anthony Davis had by far his best game since coming back from injury. Grabbed 10-plus boards, 41, 42 points. He looks like a gun on defense. The question that I have, I'm a little bit worried about Andre Drummond's fit. I've watched a few of their games, and for a guy who's that big, he is a terrible finisher around the rim. And it seems like all he does is grab rebounds.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I was watching the game tonight with my roommate, and I was just like, he looks lost. It's like he doesn't know where to position himself. I'm like, get out the way, especially when they have ISOs for Anthony Davis. He seems to like be in the wrong spots. He's not positioning himself appropriately for rebounds, and he just doesn't look like he knows how to share the floor with Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I don't think he knows how to share the floor without 4 guys that are shooters because he's obviously not a shooter. I'm just a bit worried because at the moment, he's starting all their games. Marc Gasol's pretty much been relegated to the back of the bench. And Montrezl Harrell has stopped getting minutes. Like I think he only played 5 minutes a game tonight. And earlier on the season, the reason they signed him was to be that beast as their 6th man off the bench. And I'm really confused.
I think maybe he's battling some sort of soreness because he's had a pretty solid season. He's very efficient, 62% field goal percentage, averaging 13, 14 points. But I think he hasn't had as big of a season as he did with the Clippers, but he's still been a positive influence on the Lakers offense and defense.
Yeah, we'll see what happened with them. Like I was saying, Dallas lost today, but Portland's last 3 games are against Phoenix, Utah, and Denver, I believe. So Portland could be in a little bit of trouble. I think they've got back-to-backs against Utah and Phoenix. That's a tough one to win both. And the Lakers aren't that far behind them. And Portland are just ahead of Dallas now because Dallas lost today. So this finish of the season is going to be crazy these last couple of days.
Yeah, Dallas has an easy schedule towards the end, don't they?
They just had one of their worst games of the season today. They lost to Memphis. It was a close game until the last 14 minutes where Grizzlies just turned it on and Dallas. Luka couldn't score in a brothel. He was struggling, mate. But hopefully we don't get beeped out on that comment there. It's an old Australian saying. To finish the pod, let's talk about the Boston Celtics, Serge. This was supposed to be a great chance to win a championship for the Celtics this year. And there were stretches when they looked amazing, with Jaylen Brown raising his game and Jason Tatum becoming one of the best two-way players in the league. The COVID protocols, inconsistent play from Kemba Walker, and lack of a big man have the Celtics in the play-in tournament. And I don't think they're getting to sixth position. Not to mention questions over Brad Stevens' coaching ability. Serge, they're going to come 7th or 8th if they can actually hold on to one of those seeds. The Celtics, can they make a run at a 76ers, a Bucks, or a Brooklyn Nets?
Absolutely not. The Celtics are going to struggle to win any play-in games, especially missing Jaylen Brown that's out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, 100%. Jaylen Brown makes them, with Jason Tatum starting, a really good defensive team. Like, it really does. And now I think Marcus Smart and Kemba Walker are probably going to have to play a little bit more together. And Marcus Smart's a dog on defense, but Kemba struggles. And his year, obviously that knee injury's really stopped him, but we were expecting a big year from Kemba this year.
Yeah. The Celtics have been a bit of a mess, and there's a lot. You can point the fingers at a lot of places, starting with Danny Ainge. He managed all of his picks a bit odd, trading away Kyrie Irving. He should have just given that a bit more time, or convinced, or found a way for him to stay. And yeah, the coach as well, he hasn't really been able to get his team under one wing. You know, they had problems last year in the bubble, big fights in the locker room. So the team just hasn't been really structured. They had a lot of talent. They still have a lot of talent, but there's a lot of people to blame, I'd say. And Kemba Walker is one of them, but unfortunately, it is not because of his character. It's just because his body is broken down a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think the Celtics are a threat to anyone right now. And with Jaylen Brown, they're going to be struggling to win their play-in games.
Do you think Brad Stevens might be in a little bit of trouble in the offseason, or do you think they'll give him the benefit of the doubt?
I think he will get the benefit of the doubt, since he had a lot of brilliant years, and he did a lot with lesser teams. But they still need to find out, because this core is not going to win them a championship. They need to get better.
No, I think there's definitely a trade or something coming in this offseason, just because I think Evan Fournier is under contract for another year. So Evan Fournier is going to be there. Kemba Walker's going to be there. Jaylen Brown's going to be there. Jason Tatum's going to be there. I think Kemba Walker's going to be a bit of a hard one to trade with that injury history at the moment. I think Marcus Smart might be on his way out.
That's still got a lot of. I love Smart's grittiness.
Yeah, but there's a lot of teams that could use a shooting guard like Marcus Smart, a guy that just is on the floor all the time, getting balls. A bit of an inconsistent shooter, but I don't know what the Celtics need to do. The Celtics
is big man.
100%. They're the ones. Your Bulls ended up getting Nikola Vucevic, but with the amount of first-round picks that Boston still has, I'm very surprised they didn't throw everything at Vucevic and Fournier. Just get them both. And then you have a very different team. Who cares if your bench isn't great? You have so many guys that can maybe move into the starting lineup, and then you can throw Marcus Smart off the bench. But it'll be an interesting offseason. But, hey, you never know. The NBA is crazy. One injury. The Celtics maybe can steal a game or two off a Brooklyn Nets or Milwaukee Bucks, and let's see what happens. But it's looking unlikely, Serge.
Yeah, I think so. It's a shame, because it could have been a more interesting series.
Yeah. Well, that's it for us today, guys. We'll be back in a few days. Once the season's over, we'll have a chat about that. But we'll have the teams ready for the play-in tournaments, and we'll do a little breakdown of who's playing who, the key matchups. Remember, guys, if you can't listen to us or watch us on YouTube, you can always listen on Spotify. On YouTube, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. If you want to keep up with the beard growth, we are up to day 61. And man, we've got like 2 months to go. And it is so gross, Serge. I have so much hair in my mouth at the moment. Like I can't eat a meal without having hair in my mouth. And every time I have a drink of water, I always think there's a fly in my water because something tickles me, but it's always my mustache. Yeah. To keep up, guys, on our Insta page, Talking with Scotty and Sergio, we have a little folder there. You can actually look from day 1 through to day 61. We keep up, and there is a link in the bio to donate if you'd like to donate to the Indigenous Basketball League. But guys, we'll be back in a couple of days. I'm pumped. Serge, a couple more days of basketball, and we're there, brother.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting finish.
You have a great night, and we'll catch you guys in a couple of days. Peace, guys. Play the music, Serge.